we enjoy bringing you exclusive inside royal stories? I mean, I find these stories far more fascinating than, as one can imagine, the stories that we have to do that a lot of people I do know find more populous, the gossip stuff, whatever people say. And a lot of people moan about those stories. Well, everybody clicks on the ones that we like to present to you, not necessarily as popular, but I know the few of us do enjoy them. You know what I'm talking about, of course. But what's interesting to find are stories of really that you think, I didn't know that. And that's kind of fascinating, because you just kind of wonder, don't you, what people did, what people do. Now, as you know, our late and wonderful monarch, Queen Elizabeth II, was to me one of the most iconic women of her generation, without a doubt, and of course it's the generation that we know, isn't it? That's the thing. When you look, say, at Elizabeth I and you watch the movies and you see the documentaries, you kind of think, yes, she would have been very similar, a powerful woman in a very much lone position. But it's the fun things that I like finding out about Queen Elizabeth that do make me laugh. You see, a recent story over here was the celebration of a very well-watched TV show called Doctor Who, 60-year anniversary. That's right, it went for many years until it was cancelled by the head of the BBC at the time, Michael Grade, Lord Michael Grade, in fact. Yes, met him. His parents, of course, were part of the Grade organisation, a huge entertainment family, putting on the royal variety for shows for many years in front of our wonderful monarch. But you see, a story recently popped up in the media all about how our wonderful Queen was in fact a great devotee of Doctor Who. Now, how true is this story? Well, of course, we dug very deeply. Now, Doctor Who, as I say, would have been one of those shows, particularly when it started out in the early 1960s, that possibly would have appealed even then to Prince Charles and indeed his younger brother, Prince Edward. According to a very well-placed source, Prince Edward did like Doctor Who and later on in life was actually offered a cameo inside the show. That much is true. But our monarch, was she a big fan of the show? Well, no. You see, the thing is, they're basically saying in this particular story that she often requested early copies of DVDs so she could watch them up in Balmoral. It's a funny, positive spin story, but of course it was put out just around the very first episode of the 60th anniversary. Her Majesty the Queen did know Doctor Who, not literally, but would know of the programme, but she wasn't a particular sci-fi fan. And neither was the late Duke of Edinburgh, His Royal Highness Prince Philip. They didn't mind it and, they kind of would watch it if it was on, but they certainly weren't dedicated to it. Now, a lot of people are saying, yes, but all the Doctor Whos, let me tell you and point out, not one of them received a gong. Right through from the original, William Hartnell, through to the favourites like Jon Pertwee, Tom Baker, and even up to date like Jodie Whittaker, the last from Huddersfield, who had the last time with a sonic screwdriver. So when you see these stories and you think, did Her Majesty the Queen like that? Well, not really. As we told you before, she liked light, gentle comedies like her mother. Last of the Summer Wine, everything stopped for that. She enjoyed Dad's Army, Are You Being Served? Things that really tickled the royal chuckle button. Do you know what I'm saying? As for Doctor Who, it certainly wasn't number one, quite literally, in the Queen's orbit. Not saying she didn't enjoy it from time to time, but when you read these stories, isn't it good to correct exactly all about the Queen's secret doctor? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.